So I'm here in Final Cut Pro 10 and I want to add some titles into my sequence here. I want to add some titles at the beginning and also like a little caption here too. And I'm just going to show you to give you an idea of what you can do. So I'm just going to move the playhead right to the beginning so I can add in my first title, and I'm just going to click here on my title so I can show them. This is showing me all of them. You can see it's broken down into categories such as 3D, 3D cinematic, build in and out, which means they fly in, and so on. You can try all of these and see what they actually do. You'll notice that if I click on one of them and I just scrub over, it'll give you an idea showing you what it's going to do. And you can see things like this one just starts off here with a blur, and then it appears, and then you've got all sorts of fancy ones. There's some pretty neat ones as well that you can have a bit of fun where you can drop bits in, such as a title there. Let's just start off by just adding something in that's basic. So I'm just going to go to all. You can always search for something by going down to the bottom here and typing in, say, basic. And I've got a basic title. I'm just going to click and drag that across and pop that in. And you'll see it's going to do nothing more than just have this title here. So things that I can do with it, it's over here. If it's not showing your inspector here, you can just click on this little button here and it reopens. It's telling you the title, not much to have in there. The text, so I'm going to call this one My Day in London. You can change by highlighting it, the font, so we can go, let's not use Helvetica. Let's go up here, let's see what we can find. I think I saw one here called Coolvetica. There we go, let's try that. You can change, well, you can't on this one, to italic or bold. You can change the size of it here, and you can change the alignment, left aligned or right aligned. See, they don't really work for this particular one, so I'm just putting in the center. You can do the vertical alignment as well, so if you had a lot of text here, that would be useful. You can turn on 3D text, which you can't see really here doing very much. And there's a few more options here. So one of the key ones you might want is the face one here, which allows you, if you click on show, to actually change the color. So if I click here, I can actually just click on it. It pops up with a palette. I can choose my colors by typing it in over here. So I can choose a specific color. So I can have 0, 0. You can have a palette here as well, and you can go and choose the color you want. So these sliders are the RGB values, by the way. So if you know that, if you've been given those, you can do that. You've got a palette here. This is showing you the Apple colors. You can choose crayons, gives you a different set again, and you just simply choose it and you can see it change. If you were to have clicked on the arrow next to that button, you'll see you get the palette and you can just go through and choose whatever you like. Let's just quickly click on there. You'll see it's giving you the RGB and also the hue, saturation and luminance values as well. RGB is a common way to get a value for something that your designer may give you, or if you're being consistent, you may use the same value. So I'm just going to click on that. Not saying it's the greatest looking one there. Sometimes that can be a bit bright, so you can just change your opacity just a little bit. You can also soften it a bit by giving it a bit of blur as well. You can add an outline. That's a color going around it. I need to switch that on. Click on my color, and you can choose something like blueberry, which isn't very obvious, but if I was to now go back to my outline and I could change the width of it, you can see what it's doing. So you're getting some very psychedelic 1960s styling there. Might be showing my age with that. You can add a glow, click on that, click on show, and again you can give it a color. So let's go with, I don't know, that. This is really going to look far out. So you can add the level of blur. You can't see much there. The radius will change the size of it as well. So you can see it doing a little bit there. That's giving it a glow. You can add a drop shadow as well. So by clicking on that and clicking on show, you can tell it the distance of the drop shadow. So black's not going to be a good idea. Let's go for something like white. You've got the distance of your drop shadow. You can change the angle of where you want it to go. You can type directly into here. Also, clicking and dragging changes the value as you move it up and down. Again, you can add some blur so you can soften it. So that gives you an idea of what you can do. And that's just with a basic title. I don't like that drop shadow there. It's not looking very good. And you might be thinking, well, actually, I don't want black as my backdrop. I would have liked something else. And really, the way that I do that is I have to put in a background behind it. Because this title here, if I pick it up and move it, you'll see if I put it over the top, it's basically wherever it was showing black before is actually see-through. And that's a dreadful combination. So I don't like that at all. Let me just go undo and put that back over there. So I want to have a backdrop, and I've got to go to my generators browser for that. I'm going to click on that. I'm actually going to choose something like custom because I can choose any color I like. Now I've already got the title there and I'd like it to go kind of underneath, but it won't do that. So what I'm going to do is just pop it in there and click and drag that and move it to the top. Now I can click on my custom, click here. I could have done the arrow on the side and had that palette as I did before. Let's just choose silver. I'm not saying this is looking good, but this is how you do it. So at least this will have grabbed your attention. So that's how you can choose the colors. Colors, again, it's the same as the text. You've got this color wheel, you've got your sliders, you've got some palettes, you've got a spectrum you can choose from here, and you can also choose them like this as well. Yeah, maybe this is why I didn't end up being a designer. Okay, so there we go. That's certainly going to get things started. I may want my title to last longer. I just simply click and drag, and you can see the time here. It's now 11 seconds and 20 frames. I've increased it by 1 second and 19 frames. And I can click and drag here, and I can just match that up. Just to take it a little bit further, I could have the text actually fade in or dissolve in, and I'm going to do that by clicking on my transitions browser right here. Click and drag the cross dissolve, and I now have, if I take it to the beginning, press play, and I now have that little fade in. And if I jump forward, because that is just way too long to have that title on the screen, you can see that it fades out as well. If you just wanted the fade in and just to disappear and not have the fade out, you can just click on the one and delete it. I'm going to undo that by doing Command Z. You can increase the size of the transition as well, just by clicking on it and then clicking and dragging. So that is sort of like the concepts of what you would do. But what about if you want to put a caption, say here? So this is inside the British Library. I'm just going to go back to my text, and let's keep this one nice and simple. I just want something in the lower third. So there it is, there's one. There are various different options you could choose from, which this one here is just one that I can pop in. Now you can see it's way too long here, but it's going along to the next clip. I'm just going to drag that in, and I can now click on it. There's my text. I want to change it now in here, because this is multi-line. There isn't a section up here in my inspector. I just have to double click on that name there and go British Library. So this becomes your box where you do the editing. Double click here. Double clicking selects the word. Just a single click, or you could just highlight it like that. Double click's just nice, easy shortcuts. London. Let's put that in there. You can change the sizes. I'm going to change this again to my cool Vesica, and I could do the same for the other one, but you can instantly see that you have now got a title there. Easy, you just play it, see what happens. I could go to my transitions once again, go to my cross dissolve, and click and drag that in. I've now got two, one fading in, one dissolving in rather, and one dissolving out. So you can see instantly I've got a nice easy caption that I've put in there. There are loads of different types of captions. You might want to go back to your text and just have a look through. As I said, if you scrub over, you can see what they're going to do. So there's that blur one. Let's just see what this one does. Again, this is outside the British Library. So because this has not got two components to it, like this one here, which has this section and this section, here it's appearing here where you actually can edit the text. you won't see anything happening. You may need to make sure your playhead is over the bit that you want. Let's just change this to outside the British. Okay, let's get my spelling a bit right. So I need to move that. It's in the wrong place. Down here, this is where I can use my transform. I can just click on that. So it comes up with a little circle in the middle there. I can just click and drag that to move that down. Again, I can add my transitions to it. I can change the text. Simply choose that. So I'm going to type C so that at least gets me a bit closer to where I want to be. Oh, let's choose comic script just for something a bit different. But you'll see there's loads of different titles here. Okay, so let's choose something maybe a little bit more fancy here. And you've got this one here. Now, if I move over it, you'll see it's slightly different in that it's got space here for some other component, which could be a video or could be an image. I'm just going to drop that in. And you'll see that, again, this has got multiple things going on. So I could double click here. I could call this, so I then went to the British Museum. Not that there's a theme going on here. And then I could add in something over here as well. So I could do London. Now, I don't want this one, so I'm just going to double click on it and just delete. More information. Great exhibits. Okay, so let's just quickly play that and see what just happened. So you can see this is completely over the top, I suppose, for my little visit to London. And you can see there's this little bit here which I think of as a drop zone, but they call it an image well. I'm just going to click on title and I can add it by just clicking here. Now it could be a video or it could be just a still. I'm going to choose the video. I'm just going to choose this shot here. I'm going to click on apply clip. If I go to play it, you can see that it's put it in there. It looks really good with it being a video. So that is how you can do that title, and you can, again, stretch that out. So you can see there's many different ways, and you just need to go through and have a look at a lot of these and just actually click on it and scrub and see what they do, try them out, because you're going to find some that are more appropriate to what you want to do. So don't forget with that media well inset, that can be video or it can be a still image as well. So to change it, I just click on it and I could go and put something else in there instead. If I don't want to change it, I just hit on cancel. So that's a little overview of how you can put titles in to your videos.